The most often cited evidence of the existence of man flu is a 2017 British Medical Journal review
By men.
that found that men may feel the flu worse than women.
Laura, what a load of rubbish. Whose side are you on?
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Life Uncut. I'm Laura.
I'm Brittany.
And this is Ask Uncut, where we answer your deep, your dark, and your burning questions.
You've got something burning to bring today.
No.
You tried to bring it every day for the last 3 days, and I've said save it for Ask Uncut.
Why did I keep getting sidelined with this?
Because we had other more important things.
You don't even know what it was. You don't even know how important it is.
I got an inkling.
All right, I have a question
but
for
I
you
can't
all.
wait for it.
I came across something. Well, firstly, it's a sex position. I'm just going to get it out there. Have I ever tried it? No. Will I ever try it? Absolutely fucking not. But it's been talked about quite a bit on TikTok recently, and I was floored by this one. I'm just going to tell you the name of it, and then I would love some. Keeshia, you already know, so you're not allowed to contribute here. You have to stay quiet and keep it inside.
But when you did describe it to me, I got it very mixed up.
You were very confused.
Yes.
We can get into that in a bit. Okay. The sex position is called hamstering or the thirsty hamster.
Okay.
What do you think might entail a thirsty hamster?
When I think of a thirsty hamster, I think of like a hamster that's been running for too long on a wheel and he's parched. So is it something to do with like...
Have a little, just like try and think of a sex position that could be
Well, I'm trying to-
defined as a thirsty hamster.
That's what I was doing. I was trying to associate what a hamster does to be thirsty. It's on a wheel. So is it like something like circular 69er thing? I don't know. What else does a hamster do? It just eats lettuce.
All right, guys, strap on in because you're never going to be the same person after hearing this. So the thirsty hamster, imagine if you have a car that has a sunroof, but only not like a full sunroof, like as in like, you know how like a lot of cars just have that little
Mini one.
square, like little peel back that you go,
Yeah.
one of those. Okay, right? So the guy lays on top of the car, like lays completely on top of the car.
Oh, you have to have a car for this
face
sex
down.
position.
Yeah, you have to have a car face down
with a sunroof.
with a sunroof.
It's really niche. It's a really niche sex position.
It's only for the privileged.
Not really. I mean, you can have a Kia, but if you have a car, then yes. All right. So I'm not saying you have to do it in a Mercedes. You can do it in any car that has a small sunroof. The guy has to lay on the top of the car, undo his fly, stick his penis through the sunroof, and then the person in the car gives him a blowjob. And that's...
But why is it? What has that got to do with a hamster?
You know how hamsters drink from the water bottles?
You know the water bottle with the little spout? It's like
Oh my god!
because it's hanging from the ceiling.
Sorry. The sounds I just made really made nurse out of me.
I mean, but it is though.
That's actually the fucking rankest thing. That's on par with people that have sex with their car exhaust.
No, but it's with a person. You're not fucking the car. You're not fucking
You
the
may
sunroof.
as well. There's got to be a car fetish in that. That's whoever came up with that has fucked an exhaust. 100%. 100%.
Can you imagine driving down the street and like, because the guy wouldn't be naked, right? He'd be fully clothed. He'd have his pants on laying on the
Well,
roof.
you don't drive.
You just have to open. No. You just have to open your fly. Imagine driving down the road and there's a parked car and a dude's just laying on the top of it. Like you now know what he's doing. You know what's going on.
I feel like it's like an inside thing. I think you're doing it in your garage. I don't think you're going down the main street at the shopping centre. You're not at Bondi Junction.
I disagree. I think that if someone's doing this, it's for the voyeuristic element of it. I think that they're doing it so they can get away with it. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you just go inside and suck his dick? Why would you do it in the car?
It's a car fetish. You know why we're talking about car fetishes? Don't ask me how I know so much about them.
Fast and Furious.
Another thing they do is they fuck the exhaust, but another thing they do is have sex with the car seat. Like, so they put their penis between the, like, you know how a car, the back seat goes down if it's leather or something, it goes down around and then it comes out. So it's like a crevice and the crevice between the seats. They have sex with where the seats join.
Who? When you say they,
The
who
car,
are they?
the hamsters. All those people are sexing cars.
Not illegal, but pretty weird.
It's definitely not illegal to have
The
sex with
reason
your car.
I was so confused when Laura first told me about this is that she didn't give me the position of the people. She just said that, you know, the person is through the sunroof and someone's getting their dick sucked. And so I don't know why. I don't know why, but I imagined that the person who was having their penis pleasured was laying in the car, and I was like, why would someone? They would have to reach the whole way
That
through.
was
It was very confusing.
It was very confusing. But I did describe it in the same way. I think you just missed the details.
Sorry.
Well, why are you looking this up?
I tried to blame you for why I didn't understand.
So hamstering, or the thirsty hamster on TikTok, it's been trending and people are talking about it, and here we are. This is how we got here. I don't know how I came across it. I don't know why I came across it.
You did get a new car recently, Laura.
And it
Talk
does
me
have
through
a
that.
sunroof.
Yeah. Is this something you've given a whirl? Laura's like, I know nothing, but apparently people are doing it.
I do, and it has a sunroof. All right, well, look, let's get into our vibes and unsubscribes for the weeks before we answer your questions. Brittany, vibe or
Okay,
unsubscribe?
I'm actually going to start with an unsubscribe. My unsubscribe is a movie. It is a movie that I unfortunately purchased, and I want to make sure no one else ever spends their money on this movie. So it's called Drop. It only just came out like April 2025, but you do have to purchase it on, or you know how you can rent them? You pay a price, $12 or buy it for $24 or whatever it is on Apple and Amazon.
Why did you buy this?
Because I really love the main actress, Megan Fahy. She's like hot property at the
She's
moment.
in Sirens recently.
In Sirens recently.
She was in Bold Type.
Yes, I fell in love with her in Bold Type. I loved that show. That was like Stan years ago. She was in White Lotus season 2 and she's just having a moment. The plot sounded fun. Like they sold it to me. We all bought it. So me, Ben, Sherry and Jay. And collectively have said it is the worst thing we've ever seen and we cannot get that time back of our life. So I just want to tell people not to do it. And I know that there will be people that are looking to do it. So you'll thank me, trust me. That's my unsubscribe. But my vibe this week is just like from a lifer, and it is just one of the best vibes I think I've ever brought. So we had a lifer reach out to us online. Her name is Rachel Jane Sculpting on Instagram, Rachel_Jane_sculpting. She's been a lifer for ages, and you might have seen on Life Uncut Instagram or on my own stories some puppy sculptures. Like, so Delilah got made into a sculpture, Buster got made into a sculpture. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, we'll show you right now. And Ness's, if you're a lifer, you'll know that our video producer Ness, her puppy passed away like 2 weeks ago. It was really sad. And Rachel sculpts. I cannot tell you the detail and the intricacies and the accuracy of these sculptures. Like, I have never seen something look so much like Delilah or like Buster, like our dogs. It's incredible. And she sent them to us, and I just thought this is such it's so thoughtful. B, she's so talented. And C, if you are like crazy animal lovers like we are, it's a really beautiful thing to have. Like, maybe you've had a dog that has passed, an old dog that you want to like have a little bit more memorabilia at home. Maybe it's your animal now. I just think it's such a cute idea, and that's my vibe of the week.
She did an incredible job.
It's incredible.
And I was confused. I was like, are these made on printers? But they're all handmade and they're all hand painted and they're just phenomenal.
I can't get over how accurate they are.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, like, I'm looking at Busty and I'm like, that's exactly what he looks like. Even down to like his little his chest section, because he's really strong in the chest. Delilah's marking, she's a is that what I say? Tri-Merle Aussie Shepherd.
A real auntie would know. She's not tri. She's just a Merle.
All of the colours and all of the markings are spot on. Like, that is exactly where the colours on her cheeks are. I can't believe how accurate they are. They're absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so that's I just think it's a really unique, really cool idea. So that's my vibe of the week.
I also have a lifer vibe this week. We've had some good, strong lifers come through with the goods, literally. So this is a water bowler. It's called the Stakki, or just Stakki, and the Instagram for it is Stakki Store. Now, we're really into our dog content this week, but the reason why this water bottle, if you're watching on YouTube, is amazing. It has these 2 compartments in the bottom, which is what makes it be the Stakki, and you unscrew them, and it has a dog bowl on the bottom of the water bottle. And it has 2 separate compartments. It also, which I didn't even realize, I just thought it had this little circle thing that you can carry it from. But I found out this morning that the circle thing is actually a magnet, so you can sit your phone in it if you're wanting to like rest your phone in something.
Yeah.
If you're a water bottle galley, Keish, looking at you, this is truly a fantastic water bottle, and it's been designed by one of our amazing lifers. So Stakki.store. Go and check it out.
She's an OG lifer. She actually sent this to us, but also sent a picture from one of our live shows like years ago. So we know she's legit OG.
You're a legit OG.
All right, my vibe this week is for the fellow people who, like me, may need to get up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet like 3 times. And I know that this could be a bit niche, but I think it's going to be one of those ones that for people who need it, they're going to think this is the best thing ever.
Keisha's like, get a bedpan. Highly recommend.
I would think about it.
Get the Nike shoes that light up when you walk.
Is it? Decent. So it is the Crest motion sensor LED night light set in warm white 2-pack for $25.
What the fuck? Just turn the light on.
No.
It's too bright.
I got it from Woolworths and it came with all of the batteries, and these are also renters friendly because you don't need to install anything. You just pull off the sticker at the back and you can just stick it to the wall. Okay, they are tailored for hallways, staircases and bathrooms. I also thought this could be good for kids. Like when they, get out of their bed to run into yours, because
But then you're inviting them. You're like, hey, look how easy it is to get there now.
the path is illuminated.
I've actually started closing our door so it's like fully shut. Before I used to leave a gap. Now, like if they get out of their bed, they get to the door, they have to physically open it, which is like I know it's only a small barrier, but it is a barrier of entry. And
Laura
so
cuts
it's
the electricity at 11 p.m. every night. She puts it back on at 7.
Well, these would be no good because they're battery operated. But I find that I have to get up quite a few times throughout the night, which is very annoying, and I'm trying to work on that. I've actually seen a GP about it, but I can't seem to not need to go to the toilet in the middle of the night. And you don't want to turn the lights on because then it gets you out of that sleep phase too much. But I started running into things.
Keeshia, this is the best, and I'm all for it. But it's also could be great for your kids, or if you're a little old lady
like me.
Just put your phone light on.
It's just a little. Well, you can, but then you see what time it is, and all the sleep experts say not to look at the time.
I hear you.
These ones, they only illuminate when it's dark, and it's just a little bit illuminated. It's perfect. I got one in the hallway, one in the toilet.
I couldn't do it with Delilah. It'd be on all night. She cuts laps. She's like, hey, what's going on over here now? Are you up yet? Like my light would just be on and off. And
Same
on
with
and
a
on.
cat.
Yeah.
Same.
For $25, it's going to be the bet. This is like when we spoke about that knee pillow. I get a message at least every other day asking for the link to the knee pillow because people are like, I do need that. I realize.
Guys, just put a pillow between your knees.
It's not the same.
You don't need to DM us.
All right, let's get into these questions. Question number 1. Hey, ladies. So I finally found the one after a long and hard few years of dating a bunch of bin chickens. I finally got my penguin.
She actually added an emoji of a penguin into.
It's very cute. We have talked about marriage, done all the ring sizes. I've shown him what I would like, which he agrees would suit me. I love that. Okay, and I'm now in a pickle. He's been married before and he spent a lot of money on his first wife's ring. She was forceful, told him which one she wanted, and she picked the most expensive one. I have said that I don't expect a super expensive ring, though I also don't want a cheap knockoff of one that you can find on some website. I guess my question is, should it matter about how much someone spends on a ring? I feel like knowing he did pay a lot for an ex means he can at least meet halfway so I get a good quality piece of jewelry I'm going to wear forever. Should I offer to pay for some of it? He has mentioned it should be about the gesture of proposing, not the price tag. Side note, we've looked up the rings that he was suggesting and they are all around a few $100s. I guess this is the standard for men's rings, and I feel maybe he's comparing that to what I should get. So sorry, what she's saying there is that they've looked at his rings and his are only a few $100s, and she's like, okay, does he think that that's how much he should spend on my ring?
I mean, he's not wrong.
But is he right?
But is he right? It's murky. No, I have different feelings. He's not wrong. It is about the gesture of proposing. It is about love and about spending your life together. 100%. It isn't about the price of a ring. Like, I will die on that hill. The price technically shouldn't matter, but I 100% understand why you don't want a ring for a couple of $100s, because that usually goes back to the quality of the ring and you want a ring forever. It's hard knowing also that he has done the whole shebang in the past and now he's saying that didn't work, so I'm not doing it again. Is he expecting this marriage not to work as well? But I also understand why some people can't spend like ludicrous amounts of money on a ring. So I don't know what your financial situation is. This is what I want to say. If you know you are financially comfortable enough to get a ring for a few $1,000s that you are happy with and you love, then I think that you can have that conversation and explain to him that you really want the quality. You can get the most beautiful rings like lab-grown diamonds and white gold and gold for not that expensive. It doesn't have to be a big, giant $20,000 ring. But yes, I would not want a ring for $300 personally, but I don't need a ring for $10,000 either. Does that mean, I don't know if I'm answering it right. He's right with what he's saying, but I understand why you're uncomfortable by it because it just feels like you're getting the short end of the deal.
I think you're answering it perfectly,
Yeah.
but I also think that even maybe the numbers that you've thrown out are like ludicrously high. Like I don't know anyone who spends $20,000 or $10,000 on a ring. Like I know those rings exist, and I know that there are people out there who have them, but even
It's
as
not
someone
normal.
who works in jewelry, I would say that like on average, the budgets that people come to us with at Tony May are like high end is like $5,000.
Yeah.
People are pretty conservative these days, and especially because there are a lot of options. And when I say $5,000 is kind of like the upper end of what people say they want to spend in their budgets, there's some people that have 2,000, 3,000, and like obviously sometimes people come with unrealistic expectations. Like there's definitely times where people are like, "Hey, I really want this ring."
But for this money.
And this is how much money I have. And I'm like, cool. So you've sent me a $19,000 ring. I cannot make that for $3,500. It's not a possibility. So let's go back to the drawing board. What I think in this situation is obviously money, we can all say it's superficial. It's not about the money. To me, I think the thing that's upsetting you though is that it's not about the effort or the money. It's about the fact that he's been like, well, I've done it before. As you said, Britt, I've done it before for a wedding. I've spent a lot of money. I gave her what she wanted and it didn't work out. So you're getting kind of punished because he's already walked that road for you. This might be his second wedding, but it's your first wedding. So it should still feel special for you, and you shouldn't be penalized because his first one didn't work out.
Yeah, but I don't think her issue is just that. Like, she definitely wants a unique and decent ring. She said, I just don't want another ring that you can get on a website. And I don't know what you mean by that either. Like, do you want something unique that's made for you? Because there is absolutely nothing wrong
With
with
getting it off a website.
with buying a ring that is made and beautiful. And like, it's hard to get a ring that someone else doesn't have. Even my ring, it's a plain gold band with an oval in it, like an oval diamond in it. That's there'd be a million people with that ring. It doesn't take away from the specialness for me. And yes, Ben did make it, but there's still a bunch of rings that look exactly the same. So I think you're getting caught up in a bit of both. I think you're a bit put off from the fact that it seems like you're getting the shorter end of the stick, and like, he's done it before, and are you not important enough, or does he not think there's longevity in your relationship? There's that side, but there's also a side I think where you're putting a real monetary value on it.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is like, of course, if you're getting a custom made ring, it doesn't matter who's making it or where it's being made, it will come with a much higher price tag. That's just the reality than if you were to buy something that is off the shelf. And I think there are so many incredible options for pieces that are off the shelf.
Yeah.
There are incredible options on Etsy. Like, Etsy is such a great place for finding like handmade, beautiful jewelry, because it doesn't come with the high price tag, because they don't have all of the additional business expenses that a lot of big businesses have. So like, there is a lot of great jewelry on there. You could go through a smaller jeweler. There's other options. I think you guys need to probably mutually agree on what is around about a budget that you want to spend. But also, it's interesting to me because it sounds like you guys don't have any combined finances by the sounds of things. When you say, should I be offering to pay for a bit, or, you know, XYZ, I guess, like, do you have an understanding of what is his financial situation, what he's able to afford? Because those are all factors that have to come into it. But I guess, and I would love to know what most people's opinions are, I don't think it's about how much money you spend on an engagement ring. I definitely think you need something that's quality, that's going to last, that's made well and built to last. But I don't think it's about the price tag. So for me, I wouldn't be ruling things off purely because it has a monetary value next to it.
Yeah, and I don't know how to verbalize it properly, because it's not about the money and it's not about the price tag, but it also can be, because if you know your finances are fine, if he's spending a lot of money going out, just in general, I have no idea of your situation.
Totally. Yeah.
If he's dropping money on his car hobby or whatever it is, and then he says to you, I'll give you a ring for $300,
Totally.
I'd be fucking off that. But
Totally, yeah.
But if you know that it's like, I want to spend my life with you and I love you, you know things are tight, like, can this do for now? Or it depends on how he's saying it. So whilst the monetary value doesn't matter, I understand that in some situations it absolutely does.
Yeah, I was just thinking then that whole time, I was like, imagine if Matt was like, I'm going to
Totally.
go and spend $2,000 on spearfishing equipment. Hey, honey,
never
I
use.
I know that I want to propose to you, but I only want to spend $200 to $300 on a ring, because that's all I think is worth it for you to have
Just in
something
case
special.
you leave and I lose that money.
I mean, good luck having that conversation though, because that's fucking awkward.
Having said that, I don't think you necessarily, this is the other aspect, right? You said, should I contribute to it? Some people do. Some people, if they collectively come to an agreement that their finances say $5,000 is the ring and you want one for $7,000, if you're happy to go and spend that extra $2,000, then that is so fine. But I don't think in a normal situation that the woman should contribute to that moment.
Yeah. What I would love to know about
the
the only thing I don't have in this question, which I would love to know, is what does she think is an acceptable amount to spend?
Yeah.
Because like if she's going to say it's $8,000, $9,000, I'd be like, girlfriend, that's too high. Come down. Like I want to know, and maybe this is a question for you guys. Like what do you think would be an appropriate amount to spend? Do you care or don't you care? And I think like let's garner that information from like a poll perspective, because I really do think that everyone has such a different benchmark for what's an appropriate amount to spend on an engagement ring.
I remember, and this is going back like a while ago, there used to be that notion of like it's supposed to be
3
3 months
months.
salary. I think about that now and I'm like, that's
crazy.
fucking insane. Like, I don't know if the cost of living was just more reasonable back then, but I cannot imagine spending 3 months worth of a salary on a ring now.
And also, I mean, this is something that's pretty niche to the jewelry industry, but gold and silver and white gold have gone up astronomically. Like it is actually kind of frightening as someone who runs a jewelry business, how much the price of gold and precious stones and everything has gone up. And the reason for that, obviously inflation, everything else, but it's had the highest jumps on the ASX. And the thing is like, it's really hard for us to price jewelry at the moment because it's, you know, you set a price for something and then 6 months later, there's zero profit in making that piece because the price of gold and silver have gone up so much.
I listened to Prof G 2 weeks ago and the price of gold had doubled since 2022.
Yeah,
Because you
it's
told me that it
crazy.
had gone up, but I didn't realize it had literally doubled because they were talking about it in terms of like an investment. So yeah, I was really surprised by how much it had increased.
Everybody go out and buy your gold bullion. That's all I can say. Buy your gold coins, your
Literally.
gold bullion, and we'll buy it off you and melt it down, make some rings.
I had this conversation with someone the other day and I found it really interesting. And so I did some like research, but apparently now just over 50% of people, so 52% of people from surveys are choosing lab-grown diamonds now instead of real diamonds. So
Yeah.
it is shifting drastically. And I was having a conversation with someone the other day who was waiting to get engaged and I said that mine's lab grown. I made Ben get me a lab grown diamond. Like there is no way I will ever let him spend that amount of money on something on my hand when it could go to a house deposit because that's like crazy amounts of money.
It's also more ethical.
And it's more ethical and it doesn't mean anything to me. Like my ring looks stunning. It is exactly the same as a diamond. If you guys don't know, lab grown are chemically engineered to be identical to a diamond. They're just ethically sourced and they're so much cheaper. And this conversation with this girl was like, no, I'd be off it if it wasn't a real one. And I just couldn't understand why.
Status.
I think it's also perception, and a lot of people aren't educated about lab-grown diamonds. Even recently, Kate, my sister-in-law, she lost a diamond from her ring, and she has 3 diamonds in her engagement ring, and she took it back to the jewelers who made it, and they were like, well, it will be this price for a real diamond, or it'll be this price for a lab-grown diamond. And she went with the lab-grown, and Ellie was like, but it's your engagement ring. I think people don't have a perception that actually to the naked eye, they look identical.
I think people think they're like cubic zirconias.
Yeah, and it's the same composition and everything. But I just looked it up. The average amount that an Australian spends on their engagement ring is $6,000, which I still think is quite high. Like that to me seems really high. But that was a 2023 survey. Yeah, $6,000. There you go.
I read that Lauren Sanchez's engagement ring was worth $7 million and I was like, I would not leave the house. I would be so scared
someone
that either
rob
I would
you.
lose it or someone would like, you know, rob you for it.
Totally.
All right, let's move on. Good luck. Okay, question number 2 I think is very relatable. I want to organise a family photo shoot with my grandma, parents, husband, baby, and my brother. My grandma is in her 90s, so I really want to get a beautiful photo of our little family while we've still got the chance. Now, here's where I am a terrible person. My brother has a partner who I honestly adore. She's gorgeous. We all get along so well, and they're very serious. But I don't want her in the photos. The thing is,
Sorry.
at my wedding, his ex, who he was also very serious with, was in every single family photo. And now I feel like I can't display any of them without it being weird. So while I truly hope this relationship lasts forever, I just want to cover my bases this time. How do I bring this up without hurting anyone's feelings or causing a big family drama? Is it okay to ask her to not be in the photo? And if so, what's the least awkward way to handle it? Help a guilty gal out. P.S. We have never done a family photo shoot and probably won't do many after this.
I can help you out with this because I have done many and I have been in them and I have been out of them. So Matt's family, when we were in Byron Bay one year, we did like all the family shoot, right? Like it was lovely. We had a professional photographer and it was for Ellie's 70th, I think it was. She wanted to have like a really nice family photo. And if you're getting a professional photographer, which it sounds like this, that's why it's a planned thing that you've got someone coming to take a big photo of your family. They don't just take one photo. They take multiple versions of the photo. So if there's like you and your brother and like other siblings and your mum, your dad, whatever it looks like, you're going to get a family photo. You're going to get photos of just the siblings. You're going to get photos of just the aunts and whatever is the combination. And I think the easiest way to go about it is you have one big group family photo with the girlfriend in it. She's included. She can be invited. And then you also say, okay, we're just having a photo with the Johnsons now. And that's all. You don't have to point out to the one person, tell them they're not in it. It was very
She'll figure it out.
It was very evident. My last name is not Johnson. I wasn't in the Johnson photo. So like they just had the siblings and Ellie. And it was just Ellie and the boys and Kate. And I wasn't in that. I don't expect to be in that. Bill didn't expect to be in that either. The kids weren't in that. It was just their cool little family.
I don't think it's weird at all.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
My thing is if you make a big deal about it now and tell her she's not invited, then it becomes a thing. Whereas you can absolutely get a couple of different versions of family orientations at a photo shoot and then you just use the one you want.
Yeah.
What happens if she's the only person who's not like
Doesn't matter.
family relation?
But that's fine because you're still going to
you
have a
okay?
photo with your siblings and then you'll still have like, I'll get a photo with mum and dad. You get a photo with mum and dad. Okay, let's just get one of the kids and mum and dad. Like it doesn't have to be a big deal, I don't think.
This is so normal to me.
Good solution.
Yeah, this wasn't even when I read this. I was like, oh, this is such an easy answer. Exactly what you just said. You just say, hey, immediate family only now. If she's offended by that, which I would be shocked, it's so normal. It's like at a wedding where you're like, everyone in, partners in, kids in. All right, kids out, everyone else out. Now just the parents, and siblings, and now partners. Like that's so normal to do 100 different photos. She's not going to be offended if you're doing an immediate family photo with your grandma.
Yeah, the thing is though, is it sounds like it's something that makes you awkward. So you're not good at delegating what is coming up. You know, when you say that at your wedding, you now have photos of your brother with his ex-girlfriend in every single photo. It sounds to me like you didn't kind of go, okay, well, we're just going to get one of immediate family now, which would infer that she's not supposed to be in that one. Or other solution is you put them on the end so you can Photoshop them out if something goes wrong.
Nah, just
pop
do
them
it
right on the end.
Let her come. Don't even say anything in advance. And then when you're doing the photos, be like, hey, can we grab an immediate family photo now? 2 seconds. That's it. Easy.
I agree. Although I do also resonate with like how difficult it is when you do have these like beautiful photos and then there's one person who's no longer in your life in them. So like my mum's wedding to my stepdad Neil, my ex-boyfriend came and he's in every fucking photo. And that's my fault because I wanted him in the photos because at the time I was like, this is forever. And so I was the one that was like keeping him in the photos. And no one sort of said, oh, let's just get one of, just us. I wish they had, but no one did. And so now he's like, and he's so tall and he's in the center of all of them. And so I just don't have any
You could
photos.
AI him out now. You could Photoshop him out now.
I probably could.
100%.
I'm going to stick it in the Facebook group. Can someone Photoshop my...
ban Photoshop request.
Can someone please Photoshop my
No, because
ex-boyfriend
then
out of
there's
my...
a photo of his face in the photo. No, we can't.
I'll blur his face out and then can someone take his body out of the photos from my mum's wedding? I
We
would
can
love
send
one.
people to space. Katy Perry went to space. You can Photoshop your ex-boyfriend out of a photo. 100%. All right.
All right, question number 3. I am married and I am a mum of 3 kids who are 4.5, 2.5, and an almost 6-month baby. Life is very hectic and very busy. I just graduated from my nursing degree and I'm about to start my first job.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. I went out drinking with my husband and his brothers and one of their wives, who I absolutely adore. She has no kids. She got very drunk, and when I was leaving to say bye, she basically told me that I am so incredibly lazy when we have family get-togethers, as I don't cook or clean up, and even though I always ask my mother-in-law if I can bring anything or help in any way, which she always says no to. I generally clean up my own things, but usually I'm sitting on the couch breastfeeding the baby or just relaxing because I'm so tired. My husband generally tells me to sit down and he will clean up for me. While on this drunk ramble, she was yelling at me and saying everyone talks about me and how I don't do anything. I feel so incredibly sad and cannot stop crying and feeling so worthless. Any advice? How do I move forward and build that relationship back up? Also curious if I am in the wrong here.
That's so mean.
Yeah, it's shit.
That is so, the way, I mean, we can't use being drunk as an excuse. I understand she was drunk and yelling abuse at you, but that fucking doesn't take away from the fact that she shouldn't have done that. That's incredibly awkward that now you know that they're unhappy with you. I don't have kids, but every one of my siblings does and all my friends do. I think it is unfair for them to expect you to be breastfeeding and looking after a small child that, unless the child is asleep peacefully, I think it's unfair for them to be saying, you need to breastfeed and then come wash up. If your husband is completely capable, he's capable. Like, you don't need 50 of you in the kitchen. But having said that, you do need to like pull your weight a little bit, and maybe that's just bringing something. Like, maybe, I don't know, she's made it sound like you do nothing. I'd be shocked if you do nothing. But there are ways around trying to act like you're contributing in a way, which is, bringing something or taking a plate away or whatever. But you're not an asshole for breastfeeding your child and not fucking doing the washing up for your entire partner's family.
Yeah, 100. I feel conflicted by this because one, I'm like, it reads as though you do nothing except breastfeed your kid and sit on the couch and have drinks with your husband and the brothers. That's what it reads like.
Yeah.
Is that the reality? Probably not. Just because someone says no, don't bring anything doesn't mean that you always show up not doing anything or bring anything. I would say that like
it's usually a throwaway comment.
Well, not even if it's a throwaway comment. Even if it's meant like don't bring anything or don't do anything, I would still say that for the majority, you should do something if you're in someone else's house, even if you have kids. The reason why I say this is because often, yes, you might have 3 kids and it's busy and like, fuck, I feel you. Like I've got 2 kids and I take them to people's houses. But clean up after your kids, because if you're not doing anything, I would dare say your kids are also contributing to a huge mess in that house. Is it just then everyone else's responsibility to clean up after your children when you're there? I think that that's something to be very aware of. But also, it's not your place just because you're the woman in the equation to do the cleaning. What are all the brothers doing? If your husband is happy to do it and he's taking the weight for both of you and doing the lion's share while you're doing the kids, then I would say that there's parity in that.
Totally.
I also think the way that this is how she's gone about this has been deeply damaging to your friendship and the relationship. Rambling and yelling at you and then saying everyone talks about you behind your back is
the worst thing to say.
The fucking nastiest way of communicating. All that needed to be said at any point in time by literally anyone in that situation was, hey, Sarah, do you mind giving us a help with the dishes? And I say this because like we host Christmas at our house every year for the extended family. Last couple of years, Matt's brothers come down, my sister, her family, Matt's sister, her family. Like it's a lot of people in our house and everyone brings something. Not everyone contributes to the cleaning. A lot of time.
And you notice.
a lot of time people are sitting on their butts and there is definitely a gender split. Like Matt's mum and sister and my sister are always the ones in the kitchen doing cleaning and cooking and whatnot. And that does just seem to be the stereotype, I would say, across the board for a lot of people. It's not, I don't want to say that the boys don't do anything. Of course they do. Of course they do. But sometimes I think we expect less of men in those equations. We allow them to be like, oh, it's their time to have a beer, sit down and relax now while all the women are running around doing stuff. I'm guessing that the sister-in-law, the wife, and also the mum probably are doing the heavy load of the cooking and cleaning. I'm pretty sure that she's got no kids. I bet you she's in the kitchen and she's doing all the cleaning with the mum in that situation, and she's fucking resentful. And it's a shame that she's taking it out on you and she's not taking it out on her husband. But I think that a bigger conversation needs to be had here, probably one with your husband firstly, saying, okay, like firstly, are we as a couple contributing enough and doing enough? Are you picking up the slack of what I'm not able to do because I'm with the kids? And figure that out first. And if you think that there's a deficit there, then absolutely you need to be doing more as a team and as a couple. But it's not your job just because you're the female in that equation to do more than everyone else.
Yeah, but I also think you need to just judge if you're being lazy or not, because you have 3 kids under 5. One's a baby that's breastfeeding, one's 2.5, toddler, running around like a maniac, and she has no kids. You can't argue the fact that you are different in the level of responsibility and how busy you are in that moment. Like if you finish dinner and you have to change your 2-year-old, stop them from pulling something over, breastfeed your baby, your 4-year-old is running manic, and she has nothing to do, then of course it makes sense for you to try and wrangle the kids and she cleans up. But if you know that there's opportunities and you are just being lazy, then that's on you. Like you do need to contribute something, or I just wouldn't make a big deal of it now. When you say, how do I make amends? I probably wouldn't bring it up again, to be honest, if she was drunk. I would just start to see where you can contribute and try and contribute more.
I have a question for you though, Britt. If your sister-in-law had 3 children and their children were contributing to the mess. Obviously using plates, using cutlery, using dishes, fucking throwing shit on floors. Like, I mean, they're very little. I'm guessing that they make a big mess. That's what kids that age do. Pulling toys out, pulling books out. And the parents of those kids were so busy or so tired because of the parenting, but they weren't doing any of the cleaning. And you yourself found that every nighttime you were not only cleaning your own stuff, but you're also cleaning up after children. Would you not feel the same? Would you not feel like, hey, okay,
Well,
this is not time to check. If you don't check out in your own home, don't check out in this home.
No, I read this as in she's not cleaning the food and the dishes and the kitchen. I assume she's still cleaning up after her kids, and the reason she's not doing the kitchen stuff is because she's looking up after the kids. Of course you have to look after your kids, but I read this as in like, I've got 3 manic kids that I'm with. I can't do that part now, but if you're not cleaning up after your kids' mess in the house, of course you need to do that. But I didn't read that like that.
I also read this. I generally clean up after my own things. I think cleaning up after your own things is the bare minimum.
Yes, 100%.
Like you can't say I generally clean up after my own things.
No, you,
it doesn't
you
matter
do
how
clean up after
yeah,
things.
it doesn't matter how busy you are in a group setting. You clean up after yourself, and I think everyone pitches in a communal way.
Yeah, so maybe you do need to pull your weight a little bit more. I don't know. We can't answer that. We don't know what you do. Do you just lay down and have a nap after dinner? You're like,
Well, it sounds like it. It sounds like she breastfeeds and then she has a nap because she's
all right.
too tired.
A last question. Is it normal not to care when my partner is sick?
Feels.
Is it normal not to care when my partner is sick or unwell? I've been with my partner for 9 years. We have a nearly 2-year-old daughter. Before having her, every time he gets sick, he refers to it as man flu and actually thinks it's a thing where men experience it worse than women. That's so dumb. Mind you, I'm a nurse and have told him so many times man flu isn't an actual thing. It's frustrating because when I'm sick, I still do some of the housework around the house. Sometimes it's just the bare minimum, but I'm still doing it. But when he is sick, the whole week is a write-off for him. Now, after having our daughter, my patience and tolerance is much less when it comes to him being sick. I know he's allowed to get sick, blah, 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 but it's different now. We don't have the luxury to just rest and recover with an energetic toddler who we need to look after. He thinks I'm not being empathetic and I'm being cruel, and hey, maybe I am. I honestly feel like I have zero care factor when he's unwell. My priorities are just different, and I know that's put a strain on our relationship. Is it just me? Will not caring about his man flu affect the longevity of our relationship?
How often is he sick that it puts a strain on your relationship?
Sounds like a lot.
How often is this guy got man flu? Do you know what Matt said recently? And it drove me into orbit. I was in outer space. So he did this test with Ash on his podcast, Two Doting Dads, where they got a TENS machine.
Yep.
And it's meant to simulate the feelings of labor. And so
Which
he was
is not accurate.
so he was showing me the video and he was like, fuck, it was so hectic. And I was like, that doesn't even come close to labor. Like that doesn't even touch the sides
It doesn't
of
come
labor.
close to period pain, not even labor.
And he was adamant how parallel it was to labor. And I was like, pal, I was vomiting with every contraction and couldn't walk or speak. I was like, you're laughing. It's not the same. Men, I don't know. It's definitely not, it's not all men, but there's definitely some men who do not deal with any sort of like pain threshold or sickness, and it takes them completely out for the count. And I think that there's a lot of, I don't want to say it's weaponized incompetence because it's not quite that, but it's like weaponizing your sickness or whatever, because men often have the luxury of going, I've got the flu, so I need to be in bed. But as women, we don't have that luxury and we just have to fucking get on with it when we have kids. And I don't think that the sympathy is paralleled. I understand why you feel a little bit resentful in this way. I also understand that it's probably amplified because you're a nurse and you actually deal with sick people every day. And so you coming home to a husband who's got a head cold, calling it the man flu, and he can't get out of bed or do anything is just monumentally frustrating. And so I kind of go, maybe you've taken it a little bit too far. Maybe there's got to be like some level of empathy, but you don't have to pander to his every man flu whim, because he can just grow the fuck up.
I think it's valid. I think your feelings are valid. Men don't get more sick than women. We all get equally as sick. We
Totally.
all feel, to be honest, it's worse for women. A week of every month, we are like flawed with a period, flawed with hormonal headaches, flawed with everything else. On top of that, we're also working. On top of that, chances are they're doing 80% of the running of the household at home with the kids, and you've got toddlers. And I just think it's bullshit when men are like, I'm out of action. You can be out of action. You can get so sick that you can't get out of bed. And I think if that's happening, of course you're going to look after your partner. The thing is, You're smart enough to know the difference. And that's why it's put you off, because you know he's pulling your leg and having a bit of a laugh. He's taking the piss. You're a nurse. If you know that he's absolutely so sick, of course you're going to look after him and understand it. But you know it's the same thing that we all get every single month of our life. Like, it's really hard to know that you are like going through the trenches and looking after everything when you're feeling the same way, just because he's saying man flu. Like, man flu is, if you had the flu, you'd be in hospital. The flu kills people. The flu's like, he's got a cold, he's got a runny nose. Tell him to get the fuck out of bed. I understand why it puts you off as well and causes problems in the relationship, because it's not just that. It's more than that. It's you having the responsibility then of the whole household and all the cleaning and all the child caring. And of course, that's going to put a divide between you and your partner. Like, that's going to build so much resentment.
There's actually, I mean, this is very interesting. I just did a little Google. The most often cited evidence of the existence of man flu is a 2017 British Medical Journal review.
By men.
That found, it is by men, that found a number of studies suggesting men have a weaker immune response to viral respiratory infections, resulting in longer lasting illnesses and symptoms. But your immune response is what makes you feel bad in the first place. It's what makes your throat ache or your nose run, or a stronger immune system could arguably make you feel worse short term. Basically, it's saying that like there are some studies to suggest.
Laura, what a load of rubbish. Whose side are you on?
There are some studies, no, hear me out. There are some studies that suggest that men may feel the flu worse than women. However, the end result of this is that in the end, there was little overall difference between the sexes in self-reported symptoms assessed using 22 blah, blah, blah. Look, the reality is I think, like you said, Britt, if you're having to take on the full mental load of everything and one person is allowed to entirely check out to get better, but when it's reversed, you don't have that same luxury, of course you're going to feel resentful. That is not your fault. That is also something that you go, okay, look, I can have sympathy for this now and I will carry the load. But you need to know that when I am comparatively sick, I'm doing fuck all. Like, I am not getting out of bed. I'm going to do nothing. And when our daughter comes in whinging and crying, you are 100% responsible for her. And if I have to get out of bed to take care of her, I'll be filthy at you because you don't afford me the same luxuries when you're sick.
It just won't work though.
No, it won't. Never
That
does.
tit for tat just causes like more problems.
Oh, point scoring in a relationship is not good.
No,
Oh, shame.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's not. No,
I always thought that was the way to really heal your relationship wounds. Make sure you keep a tally of every time you've won an argument. That's also really good.
on a whiteboard in the kitchen.
Like a rewards chart.
Yeah,
You
with
give yourself
stars.
a sticker. I won that
You
argument.
did well today. You cleaned today.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. I mean, I think that this is way more common than what we probably realize. I know that even Keeshia sometimes is like, I have no sympathy when there's sickness in our household and vice versa. But I was having a conversation with a girlfriend who was going through something similar, and it is so much more exacerbated when you have children in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to think I'm awful for this, but sometimes I do get the ick when I'm like, oh, just suck it up. Like, it is dependent on how sick and yada yada. But in my experiences, not just with my current partner, but in ones in the past, I've definitely been like, I would get on with that. You know, I would just get, and I think it's exactly what you said, Britt. We're just so used to having to navigate pain, having to navigate discomfort because of various hormonal systems.
But having said that, Keish, there's been a number of times you have said the same thing to me about Toblerone, where you're like, he could give me a little bit of sympathy when I'm sick.
100%.
So it's like, you're like, I don't want to give it to him, but he needs to give me more.
I get sick so rarely
Yeah.
that when I am sick and I'm like, no, I'm properly sick.
It's real.
It's very real. And I
Yeah.
think, I mean, he does deal with people who are literally in life or death situations.
Yeah.
So as similar to this woman, I understand why if you're in healthcare, your tolerance for it, I guess, would be reduced because you see people literally in the worst states of their lives. But I'm so on your side about this. Even though I experience it in reverse as well. So it's so frustrating to me that he doesn't have sympathy for me because he expects heaps of sympathy when he's
He's also a doctor, so he actually sees real sick people and he's like, this is nothing. Get out of bed. Go to work.
That's what I say to him though.
Get up and work, God damn it.
No one wants to work anymore.
All right. Well, look, guys, that is it from us. If you want to weigh in on any of these questions, we're going to put some polls up on Instagram like we always do, but also slide into the DMs because
Slide on in.
slide on in.
On a
slip
slipper
slide.
Did we just say the same thing? We spend too much time together.
Way too much time. Slide into the DMs at Life Uncut Podcast. You can watch it on YouTube. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to the YouTube channels and send in your Ask Uncuts for next week. We need some saucy ones. I want some like hamster wheeling or whatever. Just
Have
get
you
in
ever
there.
hamster wheeled? Please let us know.
Have you ever done the thirsty hamster? Send photos.
Ew, don't send photos, you sicko. Just let us know anonymously.
You know, I was just thinking, I forgot to mention that I really hope people who do that have tinted windows.
You would
like
hope so.
Like me on holiday. Make sure you check it, guys.
I'm Googling thirsty hamster sunroof photos.
Don't Google that. You
I wonder if
sicko.
anyone's ever put it on. Let's see. Oh my God, there's so many TikToks on this. There's just so many. But then there's also a lot of TikToks of just hamsters drinking out of a water bottle.
that are legitimately thirsty.
I'd rather watch that.
All right,
Let's
guys,
get out of here,
that's it
guys.
from us. You know the drill.
Tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your dog, tell your friends, and share the love because
We love love.
woo!